session is Optimizing Ship Management and Fleet Performance. It will be moderated by Mrs. Chara Georgopoulou, and she'll have the pleasure of, I would invite her to the podium, and she'll be introducing the panelists, and I'm sure we'll have a useful and constructive session. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, thank you for being here today. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Chara Georgopoulou, I'm head of the Maritime Advisory Team in Piraeus for DNV. And today with us, we have a panel that comprises of leaders of the shipping family that are going to share their experience and their insights on a broad and difficult topic about optimizing fleet management and performance. So we expect to set the expectation to hear about best practices about ship management. So we have today with us Mr. Prabhat Kumar, Group Managing Director and CEO for MSC Shipmanagement in Cyprus, Mr. Nikolas Vaporis, Chief Technology Officer for Capital Shipmanagement, Mr. Mark O'Neill, President and CEO of Columbia Shipmanagement, and Mr. Fabian Fussek, Co-founder and CEO of Kaiko Systems. So, let's start by setting the scene for our topic. So I would like to ask Mr. Jar, as managers of, we could say, colossal fleet of containers, could you kindly provide us with the general perspective about what comprises optimal ship management?
Thank you, Chara. Thank you, Chara. First of all, good morning to everyone. And I think being in ship management is, I consider it very privileged because everything that the industry discusses, we are the ones we have to put it back into actual use. We talk about the technology, we talk about the fuel and everything else. So this is basically where everything that being discussed has to become a success. So I think whatever the best practices we can see, there will never be enough. We need to continuously innovate and learn every day. But what is most important is that in this service that ship management is providing, from the new building to the recycling, is that everything is people-centric. And we need the right people everywhere. We talk about the right crew on board the ships, we talk about the right people in the office to provide the right support that is required. And this is the key, actually, that how good the ship management company is, what are the best practices, depends solely on the crew quality that we have. So whatever investment that we do in the training the people, the upskilling the people, so that they can run the ships with the new technology, is never enough. So I think, for us, this is our key, that we invest a huge amount of effort, investment in training the people to make sure that they are future ready. They are ready to run the ships today with making sure that ships are navigationally safe, the personnel on board are safe, and the cargo that is being carried is safe, actually. Then they are ready to adopt to the new technologies. We talk about a different range of the technology that is they're going to be coming today. Unless these are the people who are ready, we cannot succeed in becoming a net zero industry. So I think, my whole focus will be on the crew, and, I think we are doing something probably good because we are talking about MSC, we have almost 98% crew retention, and this is something that we are extremely proud, And I must say that though we are running a colossal fleet, but I'm personally making sure that I personally approve all the masters and chief name promotions. I know all these names by heart, and I believe that this gives these people an extra touch, that they feel valued in the company. And same thing that, in the short side, that people need to be of the right value and the right knowledge, so they can supplement anywhere the crew needs support, because the office has to earn the respect, not because it is an office, but because of the support they can provide to run the crew, to give to crew to run the ships much better. So in my opinion, this is the main essence. Then we can talk about the processes, we can talk about the systems, and I think being a ship management gives us a lot of opportunity to innovate and pilot many new technologies, like we have done in radical derating of the ships, or even the retrofitting of the ships. Previous panel talked about the net zero, we talked about the methane slip from the LNG ships. talking about taking the initiative on the methane abatement from the industry. So I believe being in the ship management is, we are providing the solution to everything that the shipping needs today. And I think, I will let other panelists add more into it. So it is all about the people, systems, and processes, which we continue to learn every day, actually.
Actually, you gave me the lead to go to Mr. Vaporis and ask about the current strategies for monitoring the sustainability of operations. So we speak about a broad spectrum that has people, machine, algorithms, and the trade. How can strategies for monitoring the sustainability of operations, an example through digital fuel performance monitoring systems, how can these tools support?
Okay, thank you, Chara. Thanks to Capital Link for inviting us. Well, I will talk how we do it in Capital. The previous speaker said a lot about optimal ship management, and I will now try to touch a little bit on the digital aspect of fuel performance. It's a long time now. Most of us are investing on technologies on board ships and technologies in the office in order to monitor and improve the consumption of ships. What is important for us is the human element, because no matter how much money we are spending on technologies, no matter how much money we are spending on softwares, how much money on new buildings to have all these modern telemetries on board, the human element is always the key factor if you want to bring down your operational cost and reduce the fuel consumption. So, like the previous speaker, it is more important that the people on board do understand the systems that we install on ships, how they run, telemetry, operational KPIs that are given to them, and likewise in the office, we have to work with them in order to achieve our KPIs and improve our efficiencies. So human element, I think, is more important than having the sensors on board and the software in the office.
Excellent. So exactly on this topic about technologies and people, what for Mr. O'Neill, what are you doing in your company to optimize management, combining these two factors together?
Good morning, everybody. And I was interested to learn at the start that this is the year of youth in Cyprus, which explains my position on the panel. No, look, I think ship management and ship operation optimization, it's all about a change of approach. This is not about third-party management or second-party management. It's about one-party management. This is not a question of in-house or out-house. It's a question of one house. It's all about partnership and one team. And I think we've learned that as traditional third-party managers over the last few years. I think the whole industry has learned that. I think optimization of performance is a partnership between technology, clearly, people, as Nikolas said. I mean, the human element is massively important, but it's also about best practice and the systems in place that Prabhat talked about. So it's a partnership between those three factors. As far as technology is concerned, clearly we all have to harness the latest developments that are out there. Within the Columbia group, we have fantastic partners. One of them is sitting next to me, Fabian, Kaiko, but we have other partners, OneLink, we have Fuel Link, we have Bunker Link, we have Oceanly, performance systems. Technology is of critical importance, and that's something that none of us can ignore. Then, of course, we have the people, and the human element is massively important. There's no doubt that a properly motivated people force, be it on board the vessel or ashore, will lead to much better results, irrespective of technology. The human element is really, really important. And I think if this industry lacks in one thing, it is having a proper, sophisticated human resource management system, both ashore and on board our vessels. We have to get better at looking after our people. We have to get better at motivating our people, ensuring that our crews are properly motivated, properly compensated, properly fed, properly looked after from a medical and a mental health perspective, properly educated and trained, and that applies also for our staff ashore, that they have a proper career structure. They know when they can be expected to go through the ranks and then come ashore, and that our people ashore know how they will have a proper career structure as well. So I think the shipping industry as a sector has to really make significant advances there in order to catch up with other sectors. And then I think when you look at all of those three factors, so the technology, the people and the processes Prabhat's talked about, then also I think the industry needs to see its place better in the wider logistics framework. I mean, the days of shipping industry being this isolated sector, this splendid isolation, are over. We have to see ourselves in the context of the wider logistics framework. Some of the bigger companies, of which Prabhat is an employee, see that, and it's not by accident that some of the bigger companies are investing in haulage, or investing in terminals, investing in airlines, etc. They get it, and the rest of us have to get it too. And one of the key solutions to us getting it is a common IT platform. We still don't have a common IT platform so that ships can talk to shore, can talk to crews, can talk to airlines, can talk to haulage. We need that common IT platform. When you look at the airline industry have a predominant IT backbone provided by a company called CETA. We need that in the maritime space so that all of this hangs together and all of this is able to communicate in the same way, that people on board can effectively communicate with people on shore, that we can have visibility, that we can identify with all of our people and all of our resources. Until that happens, we won't achieve complete or true optimization, but we're getting there, and I think there's reasons to be optimistic.
Actually, you spoke about the development of an IT backbone that combines not only the shipping sector activities, not only the ship management activities, but also across the logistics sector. So getting out of our silo as an industry. This is something that there are efforts right now happening.
Yeah, but we have, at the moment, we all have our baubles. We all have our baubles to hang on our respective Christmas trees. Performance, tools, tablets, etc., etc. But they're baubles. What is lacking is the Christmas tree. Each of us has our own Christmas tree, which we think is the best, but it's not. And what we see in other sectors is that Christmas tree, that common IT backbone, which allows us all to talk to one another and optimize. And that's, I think, the challenge for the industry. So that, you know, at the moment we have hundreds of different ECDIS systems. We have all speaking a different IT language. This is above my pay level, but I understand it. We need to have that common backbone so that a passenger checking in at Heathrow will have all of the information passed through to the cruise ship he or she gets on in one of the cruise ports, and the cabin is set up as he or she wants it, and the luggage finds its way there. That's the sort of backbone and the cruise sector scenario that I'm talking about. The same applies in commercial shipping, so that vessels can talk to ports in a much better way, and cargo operations can be optimized in a much better way, and through cargo operations can be optimized. So that's the backbone that we're talking about.
So moving to Mr. Fussek, and taking advantage of the position just explained by Mr. O'Neill, do you believe that AI can be used? How can we leverage from AI, which is not only about digital transformation, it's about exploiting the information further to generate more information? How can that help ship management?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question, and thanks for having me on this panel with this very experienced gentleman. And I hope to share a perspective of the observer in the industry. And the perspective of a provider of solutions. And I want to go into that point and the question about technology by giving some examples of current challenges that we are observing with our customers. So, two examples that are on everybody's mind right now are SIA 2.0 on the tanker and wet fleet, and more scrutiny in pod state control across the world, especially in MOUs like China or Australia. And these two examples present two different challenges that result in the same takeaway from our perspective. So SIA 2 is a completely renewed ship inspection regime for the wet fleet. And it presents especially small and medium-sized companies with tremendous uncertainty, which means they don't know what they don't know because they were, for example, not involved in the first few phases. And so there's a lot of need to reassess and to completely rethink existing processes because the old ones are not applicable anymore. On the other hand, pod state controls are a staple regulatory practice, but they are executed with much more scrutiny than before. So existing processes, again, have to be reassessed as what in the past may have been a Code 17 rectified before departure, but not really a ground for retention, might now result in a Code 30 immediately. And so the execution of existing processes needs to be guided much more heavily. So what existingly or currently has been focusing on being compliant and having compliant processes is not doing the job anymore. It's just process compliance doesn't get you where you want to go. You need performance processes. So reassessing all your processes in light of performance, that is really, and I hope to bridge the gap here, that is really where new technology such as AI comes in. As you need to reassess what is eating up your time, like which are the processes that are taking a lot of time but not bringing a lot of value, and just automate them, plain automate them, try to take them away and refocus the process on what matters, on the performance. So when it comes to onboard operations, really focusing on the work, that the human element that was talked about so much, to really focusing on the work that is being done and making it easier for the people to do a better job, both on shore and on board, by enhancing and empowering those processes that bring value. And that's where AI comes in. It's about making sure that assessments are objective and that processes are completed in the expected and appropriate effort, and less just going through the motions and being compliant, because clearly that it doesn't cut it anymore. That's the observer perspective that I want to share in this round.
But coming back to the matter that the other participants in the panel have highlighted, the matter of the human element, how does that connect to this whole scene? And do you feel, Mr. Fussek, that there is a renewed sense of appreciation of the human element? And when do you expect that we will see such modules also being incorporated in this whole digital transformation schema?
Yeah, I think the motion is underway. You can't deny that a lot has changed in the last few years. When we started with Kaiko systems about three and a half years ago, you could think that most of the focus was about automating everything. You could sense there was a feeling of, there might not be seafarers at all on the ships in a few years anymore. And I think that sentiment has fully changed. And therefore, I think you can say there is a renewed appreciation for the human element and empowering these processes. Where previously a safety inspection might take 7 hours, and afterwards the documentation takes another 7 hours just to be compliant. These processes are being rethought, and the question is that necessary or is that just compliant? Does that drive performance, or do we just go through the motions because it is regulated or expected? And so making it easier for the crews and for the people to do a better job in this context of increased scrutiny, uncertainty, I think that is the common theme that is visible right now.
Could I just add something there? I think before we obsess too much about artificial intelligence, I think the focus should be on human intelligence and enhancing human intelligence. And one of the wonderful things, among the many wonderful things that Kaiko Systems affords, it enhances human intelligence. What we see too much in this industry, not just in this industry, is people don't think enough. And people ashore perhaps don't think enough about what life as a seafarer involves and the challenges. We don't identify enough with the seafarers on board. Technology can help that. Technology can help enhance our human intelligence and give us greater visibility and identification with all of our staff, be they ashore and on board our vessels. So I think that's one of our greatest challenges, enhancing human intelligence rather than looking to artificial intelligence as a solution.
That's an excellent point. Mr. Chairman, would you like to make a position on that or a question to our panelists?
If I may, I'd like a question. The panel, if each one can give their personal view. From your experience, how efficient and smooth is the interoperability of the new digital platforms for the performance, monitoring, compliance and reporting? Secondly, are there any steps to be taken to ensure that this becomes more safer and more compatible in the future? Thank you.
Yeah. I believe the performance monitoring systems are, if you buy something which is, as available from the shelf, it's not going to work. Because the shipping, like airlines, you're operating a different kind of fleet and different speed bulk carrier, car carriers, container vessels, tanker, different safety standards, different schedule, different priorities. For example, we are talking of the container vessels where we are carrying maybe 2,000 reefers and we are carrying the cargo where we are making atmosphere inert by having nitrogen inside the reefer containers. So this is a completely different, it has to be highly customized to suit the services for the ships that we are operating, number one. Number two, it has to be exactly what is the motive. Are we trying to just comply with the regulation or we're trying to provide a customer service? So I think what we are being driven by is the customer service, and because regulatories are always the minimum, they always meet up the standard when you meet the customer service requirements. So we have to see that how we can step up and have these digital solution as an enabler to any new technology, to efficiency, to make any retrofits that is required. So I believe it has to be highly customized, and today no systems are interchangeable. We talk about something as ship management is highly I would say we have the biggest problem is the transparency. We take over a second-hand vessel and there you lose complete record in history actually. We'll be very pleased to have a common IT backbone that we can inherit the planned maintenance system of the vessel, because this is the first step in establishing a right safety. You do not do the turbocharger running hours, for God's sake, next day after the takeover it's going to break down and you have to tow the vessel actually. So I think this is what we would like to have it in the ship management.
Mr. Vaporis, can I ask you, along the same framework that Mr. Chara described, what is your company's approach in integrating advanced technologies for like automation, like data analytics?
Okay, I will refer to new buildings, since the previous speaker talked about existing ships. As you know, Capital has a vast program of new buildings. Every day we take new ships in from various shipyards, and this makes our operations extremely difficult. It is known to everybody that shipyards from Korea, every shipyard has its own performance monitoring, AI, navigational, cyber systems in place. Somehow they give it to you free when you order the ship, and the same applies to Chinese shipyards, because the designer office in China and the shipyards in China, they also come with their solutions, and then the vessel gets to the delivery date, and we have the difficult task to bring all these systems and all this information to one common platform, which is our own platform. So it is very challenging, it is true, it's very challenging. We have no other option than invest in equipment on board and people at shore. we will continue because this is our job. Our target is to adapt in order to survive.
Can I add something there? I think we're all, each and every one of us, whether we're ship management or owners, operators, we're service providers. And I think it's important for all of us, teaching us all to suck eggs, to give the client what they want, not what we think they want. We all have to be client facing. So it's as dangerous to be too far ahead of the digital curve as too far behind. You have to be on the lip of the wave. And that's why I think, coming back to what Prabhat said, is absolutely right. We have to, it's horses for courses. Some of us will need more digitalization and more digital solutions than others. Others might not need it. Don't digitalize what you don't need to digitalize. You'll spend a lot of money and a lot of hard work. The approach we've taken is a platform of services. So the partner we have, One Link, it's a pick and mix. You can have your fuel link, you can optimize your bunker solutions, you can have your lube link, you can have your Oceanly performance, you can have your your One Care solutions for your crew, etc., or you can have none. You can pick and mix. And what you mustn't do is choose a system that you have to train your people on each and every time. So each system is different. What we've tried to do is keep the training down to an absolute minimum so it looks and feels the same, whatever of those optionalities you choose, because our people have enough to do without attending various IT courses to learn how to use various different incompatible platforms. They all have to be compatible, they all have to look and feel the same, and they all have to be idiot-proof so that people like me can understand them and use them easily and effectively. So that's the approach, but they give the client what they want, not what we think they want, and what they actually need.
Excellent point. Mr. Fussek, can I ask you, from the technology provider side, from 1 to 10, where do we stand in this interoperability that Mr. Chairman described? And all the different panelists have described the difficulties, the different systems in yards coming from the new building stage.
Yeah, thank you, Chara. You're setting me up for a very controversial statement here because I'm not sure if we're on the scale yet. Interoperability is a huge topic, and it's one that we talk about day in, day out. And as Mark said, the mix and match, pick and choose approach that allows people to and companies to pick the best in breed solution, that is really the state of the art in many other industries. In shipping, we're faced with tremendous difficulties when it comes to this approach. And it all comes down to incentives, and it all comes down to the modernization aspect of software. A lot of software was introduced during a time where interoperability was not really built into the technology stack. So when you're trying to upgrade a certain part of your system but keep the rest, you're faced with, as I said, incentive problems as well as technological problems. The technological problems are usually, it's possible to overcome these problems if the demand is strong enough. So if a customer demands their software and their solutions to be interoperable, there usually is a way. But then the incentives to offer this interoperability are often not there because, why would you invite a best-in-breed solution in your broad technology stack that has been working good enough, and by that face the possibility of losing market share, for example, or being faced with competition in a market where monopolies have or oligopolies have been the norm. So I guess to summarize it, the technology is not the problem. It's doable, and there are more than enough solutions out there. And my ask would be to demand that solutions are to be found, and do that strong enough and credible. And then I think interoperability is much easier to achieve than it is sometimes perceived to be.
Excellent point about made by Mr. O'Neill and Mr. Fussek on educating people and being capable to adjust to different versions of the software, or even changing the software to adapt to the market and people knowledge bases. And also before, in the first session of the Capital Link, just to remind you that Ms. Hadjimanolis, Her Excellency, defined that, said that crew education is important and actions are taken according to, along this line. And that, I think, coming back to you, Mr. Jha, how setting the right culture and mindset in a company can support along this line?
I think we can have the right people, we can have the right technology, but if we don't have the right mindset and the culture, the success of this is going to be a big question mark. So I think that everything has to start with the right culture. For example, we talk about the efficiency. We can have everything system set on board. We can have even the new building. And imagine a chief engineer who is running 2 generators on board because he thinks, no, I would not like to run at 85%, I better run at only 50% 2 generator. So we're just talking about, but this is something we cannot have it on people overnight. This is something that takes years to implement. And this is why I believe the companies who have this right culture and invested in the people training, mindset, their development, are going to be winner in this decarbonization and net zero race. So it's super important. I mean, talk about the safety. Again, it is absolutely the mindset, nothing else. Every company has a policy. Some companies have excellent track record. Some companies have the bad track record. It is all about the culture and the mindset of the people that is there. So for us, it is super, super important. And this is also integrated in our core values of the company, about the family company, and how we are passionate about the continuous evolution and everything else. So in my opinion, this is super important in order to have the right success from the right people and the, let's say, the technology that we will have on board ships.
Mr. Vaporis, can I ask you to reflect on this question as well, from your company's perspective?
You cannot go far if you have no company culture. And that's not to everybody. My previous job as surveyor for Lloyd's Register, we had a strong culture. In Capital, we have around strong culture driven by our principal. In order to have a strong culture, you need to invest in people. This is not something that comes from technology. You have to employ the right people at the right time. People at a certain age take some more time to adapt to our culture. The younger people adapt faster. It's very important. At Capital, we are very, very, very strong supporters of our culture.
Thank you.
And culture has to evolve. Culture can't be written in stone. As a company evolves and times change, so the culture has to evolve with it. When I came to Colombia, we had 5 very strong core values set by our chairman. We added 2 more 2 years ago, diversity and sustainability, because times change. And 20 years ago, diversity and sustainability, people would have scratched their heads and said what? I'm very proud to report that we have 3 women in the top 100 women in shipping. And that came about because culture evolved and changed. So as an organization, to have 3 women supporting our diversity culture is amazing. But I think, look, I think we all accept that people are at the foundation of everything we do, our most important asset that we have to invest in. We have to train them, we have to educate them, and we have to train and educate them in modern ways, evolving ways, not just classroom as was done in the past, but now through e-learning platforms, through gaming, all of these new technologies that are available to us now that weren't in the past. And I think that's really, really important. We have to continuously change, and as I said, be on that lip of that wave. Not too much in front, so you become irrelevant, but absolutely on the lip.
Yes, and you have also highlighted this cross-sectoral and broader sense of how collaboration can bring into and support culture development. in example, and that's a question to Mr. Fussek, about collaboration and your perspective, how collaboration can support you as technology provider grow and bring meaningful tools to your customers.
Yeah, thank you. May I also add one more point to the topic of company culture, especially on board of ships? I think some companies have still the mindset of we need to control what the people do on board of the ships, and we need to make sure that they follow all the procedures and so on. And that often creates a culture that is kind of threatening and does not empower or incentivize outperformance, but basically just meeting the baseline. And if your aim is the baseline, then a little undershooting it is usually catastrophic. What we experienced when introducing technology to seafarers and talking to them is that seafarers actually have a tremendous amount of pride that they take in their work, and they are really proud in doing a very good job and outperforming. And I think that is something that, when acknowledged and incentivized right, that can really make it much easier to foster this culture of accepting and taking change as an opportunity and not as a threat. And so bringing this mix out of trust and empowering people and the sense of somebody cares and actually might double check and might look, and this combination of trust and transparency, I think that is the key to the culture problem or culture challenge. And when it comes to ship-shore communication, when it comes to seafarers and technical teams, talking about superintendents, vetting managers, and the like. And collaboration, I think, starts exactly there, between the ratings and the officers, between the ship and the shore, when the communication channels are effective, when the communication culture is open and fostered by the sense of trust and transparency. I think then that is the right foundation to build upon. I hope that answered the question. Thank you.
For sure. First of all, I would like to thank you all. I think that we have a story here today. The story we started talking about best practices in ship management, and we ended up with something that is a combination between digital transformation and culture, developmental culture. It's a growing and continuous improving framework. So thank you all for your points. Would you like to add
Thank you.
something,
I'd also like to thank the panel today for very enlightening. One point I'd like to mention, if I may, one extra point, is that the importance of the human factor and the stress and controversy which the ordinary people going to sea, what they have to face on a day-to-day basis. I don't actually think that only goes down to intelligence or to the ability of the company to go and direct their crew. I think the way I look at it, being a romantic Greek, is that at the end of the day, to excel and to succeed at sea, seamen, besides actually being capable and being competent and being well-trained, they have to be passionate about the sea, ladies and gentlemen. I think the sea is one of the few professions in the world which is actually overwhelmed by romanticism and passion. And I think passion is an extra ingredient, which I think you mentioned before about the culture. I think the culture scenario actually includes that ingredient, especially with the Greek series, Seafarer Nation. Thank you.